Are you a consulting business owner seeking a better way to scale to your next million in revenue? Accelerate Sales Podcast features other experts who have cracked the code to predictable revenues with proven sales systems that quickly increase revenue and get you on the fast track back to doing what you do best. Now let's accelerate your sales with today's episode.
Hi, Paul here. Before we get into the show, would you like to make a great first impression on LinkedIn? If so, I have something just for you. When people search for your name on Google, your LinkedIn profile will normally come up first. Before meeting someone for the first time, how often do they view your LinkedIn profile? For many coaches and consultants I begin to work with, their profiles don't do them any justice. I've created a simple solution where you can whip your profile into shape to have your best foot forward when attracting new clients on LinkedIn. Hello to the Accelerate Sales Solo Podcast, episode number 342. If it's your first time, welcome. And if you love what you hear, please subscribe. It's great to see those numbers popping up. If you're a regular, thanks for your support. And as I said in other shows, I really appreciate you, yes, that's right, you reaching out to me, because it can be a lonely world sitting on this side, and it's just brilliant to hear from you. And I also really appreciate those iTunes reviews. Please check out past shows on your favorite platform. Just search Accelerate Sales, and don't forget to check those interview shows. So today's topic is 5 LinkedIn tips to increase referrals. So what I'm going to do is not much of a setup. I'll just jump straight into it, I should say. So one is targeted profile, right? So that's your LinkedIn profile. So be really clear who your ideal client is on your profile, because so often you'll have conversations around referrals. You know, I'll introduce you to this person, and someone goes to your profile and they're like, hang on, that's not what the person said who referred me in the first place. And as we all know, a confused buyer doesn't buy. So really make sure it's clear. Also, know that just because you're very clear on who you're targeting doesn't mean other people won't buy from you. Okay, so we used to find that at Coca-Cola all the time. We use the analogy, but we had a very set target market on exactly who we wanted to sell to, but that doesn't mean that a lot of other people drank it, right? It's the same for you. I know you get nervous, and I certainly do too, when you niche down or niche down too much on your profile, but I really do think that if you want the hell yeses when people come to your profile and the no's, right? You don't want to try to appeal to everyone. And ultimately, someone's got about 2 minutes to make a decision normally on your profile, right? And they're on their mobile phone, so the easier you make it, the better. So a couple of key things: the header. Make sure that your header is like that billboard that goes past, you drive past on the road. Make sure it's clear on who you serve and what results you get. The headline, same thing. I help X through Y to achieve Z, right? Make it easy for people. Also, your featured section, have my story on it. And if you go back to episode 340, the last solo show, it talks about having that story on your featured section. Also, the about section. So even have some specific clients that give you testimonials in the about section so people are clear. And also, don't forget that company profile, right? Because not always, but most people will still check your company profile. So if you want to check out a resource I've got, just giving you some killer tips on your profile, just go to paulhigginsmentoring.com/profile. And also there's a great episode where I talk a little bit more detail on profile, which is paulhigginsmentoring.com/podcast, and just search episode 197. So we've done 1, which is target profile. 2 is engaging posts. So one great thing is post mentioning a case study, right? So a case study or a testimonial where you've worked with a client, you've got them a fantastic result, and in the comments or the call to action, you could say, do you know anyone else like this, right? So that's one way. Another is post mentioning your referral program. So you're very clear on who you're looking for and also what your program. So you might have, affiliate fee or something like that. So once again, you're bringing it out, dusting it off from in the cupboard where it never really gets any use, to putting it on the center table, right? to make it obvious for people. And the third one is comments, asking people if they know someone. So in the comments, you can say, do you know someone like this, right? So not everyone's going to publicly do it, but that's a great way of often creating the silent referrals. So 3 is influencer posts. So it's a little bit like your own post, but let's leverage off bigger platforms. Now, might not have 5 million LinkedIn followers, right? But there are people out there and they're servicing your own clients. So how do you leverage off that? So for example, your ideal client might make a comment on the person's post, that the influencer, and then ask them if they know someone like X. Now, you don't ask them straight away, right? So you go through your normal process of connecting, engaging, etc. But it's quite funny when you ask about someone else, often that person will actually say, you know what? I really need this as well. So it can work in both ways. So before I continue, I'd like to talk to you about booklikeaboss.com, or as we call it, Blab, which is BLAB. So most of you have used the scheduler, so there's Calendly, there's Acuity, there's a lot of great options out there. I came across Blab, or Book Like a Boss, in an AppSumo deal, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. And there's a couple of key reasons. One is that there's a great user experience. It really does look like a modern website. I think some of the other ones have got a tired interface. The other thing is that you can have your own custom branding, which is great, and you can create your own pages. And the last one is you can have questions. Now, I know most of them provide it, but it's just so easy to add questions so that you can pre-qualify someone, or they can pre-qualify themselves before you get on a sales call. And, ultimately, I think Book Like a Boss are continuing to add more and more features so that you can remove that ping pong of email and meetings, whether you're doing it or whether your virtual assistant do it. Anyway, you've heard enough from me about it. Why don't you check it out for yourself? Go to paulhigginsmentoring.com/blab. So that's BLAB. And of course, there'll be a link in the show notes. So far we've covered your profile. We've covered your engaging posts. Now what we're going to do is, we've also covered influencer posts as well. So they're the top 3 so far. So now we'll dive into number 4, and that's LinkedIn groups. So owners of groups, it depends how big the group is, but they know they're really, so 10% of people that engage all the time, they know them well. So you could approach someone that does have your ideal client, and you could see if they want to be a referral partner for you, right? There'll be something and you can give in value to them, but they can specifically handpick some people that may know or may need the service that you've got. So I think that's really good. The next and the last one is number 5 is LinkedIn outreach. Okay, now I know this one seems a bit obvious. Oh yes, use LinkedIn outreach, but I've got a couple of ways you can do it that works really well. So we all spend a lot of time outreaching to ideal clients, right? But have you ever actually tried your referral partners? In those first connections of yours, you've probably got some people. So for example, for me, like a personal branding, a marketing digital agency, they're people that people go before me, right, to use their services. Or like a virtual assistant is another great one. And what I can do is provide my clients virtual assistants, but provide them the sales machine and also sales support. So I think that's a really smart way of doing it. And once again, I said that if you reach out to someone and say, do you know someone like this, they may also, be intrigued with your services, but there's a whole lot of untapped relationships that you can leverage. And if you want the scripts and all, just reply back to me or email me at paul@paulhigginsmentoring.com. And we've got a lot of great scripts that we've been testing to make that a reality. So 3 key actions from today. 1, set up a referral program to attract and reward people. 2nd is implement 1 action out of the 5 that we talked about today. And the 3rd is for more referrals. If you want to look at our full system, just go to paulhigginsmentoring.com/ASP. So that's ASP. All the links in the show notes. As I've said, just search for episode 342 on the app you're listening to now. I recommend the Pocket Cast app. Please follow me on LinkedIn. It's where I give Yes, I give my solo and my interview, but I also give other really valuable content there. And if you know somebody interested in more referrals, and let's be honest, who doesn't, especially if you've exhausted that existing network, please share this with them. Please take action to accelerate your sales.
I'm fired up after today's episode. What about you? But hey, before you go, learning is just one piece of the puzzle. Now it's time to put today's strategy into action. Head over now to today's show page at paulhigginsmentoring.com/podcast and share how you'll put it into action. Be sure to head over to your favorite podcast platform and subscribe, rate, and review the show. Tell me what your favorite episode is. And don't wait 1 minute more to gain access to your pulse check at paulhigginsmentoring.com. This could be the difference between struggling to get more leads and making this next quarter your best one yet.